Listen. Do you mind if I put my 2 cents in?
No, honey, I don't mind.
Call the police immediately.
I don't get it. No idea what you're talking about. Yes? Hello? Hi, stranger.
I want ham and eggs and flapjacks with lots of butter and syrup and coffee. I'll take the coffee now.
Why have you come here tonight? Rain.
Where's my dough?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Vibes and Stuff Live in the Morning. It's your host, Chuck Allen, with your host, Uncle Freezy, coming to you live on a Thursday, August the 4th.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Vibrant ones, how you doing this morning? Uncle Freezy, how you doing this morning?
Chuck, I was doing just fine until you said what you said before we came on, bro. I was doing just fine. I was cruising along, minding my business until you said what you said before we jumped on.
Sir, you cannot tell me because of the response I gave you to the question that you asked, that ruined your day? If that ruined your day, sir.
No. What I'm saying is I think young people don't appreciate good stuff no more.
You know, my auntie said the same thing as she was trying to fix me a side of chitlins.
Yeah.
I said, no, ma'am, I don't want any of that. Do you know what that is? We shouldn't be eating that. And her response was, young people just don't know what good things are anymore.
Yeah, young people eat all that stuff. Our ancestors ate it and lived a long time.
Hey, man, if they lived a long time eating boo-boo shoot, that's their business.
Chuck,
but I ain't with it.
Chuck, don't do that to us, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that to us, bro.
Well, I specifically chose the phrasing or the wording boo-boo shoot is because basically that's what you're trying to tell me. This boo-boo shoot of a group should be considered a top 100 group of all time?
Of all time, bro. Of all time.
I seen 3 huskies howling in the snow on YouTube.
Right.
They should be a lot further ahead on that list than the group that you mentioned.
Chuck,
those three wolves howling.
Chuck, don't do that to us, bro.
All right.
Don't do that to us, Chuck. Don't do that to us. So first of all, this morning you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you, sir. I feel fantastic. Looking very.
When I look at you, I'm colorblind, so I grabbed the first shirt and tie that I saw. The first shirt and tie I saw, I grabbed it and put it on because I overslept, man. I woke up about 7:45.
Okay. I've been there.
7:45. Right. So and it's because I had a late night, man. I had a late night. The internet went out, and you know I'm a worker bee, so I do pre-production at the end of a show and pre-production at the beginning of shows. So I end my day with production and I start my day with production. Right. And so the internet going down so the internet was down. So I couldn't even, I find my Chuck. You know what? You know what it is?
What is it?
I can't live without technology. You remember LL had this song way back in the day? And you know I can't live without my radio. Right, remember that? Back from
Yes,
back in the
sir.
day?
Yes, sir.
All right. So Uncle Freezy, found out this morning that I can't live without technology.
Okay.
I just can't. I am a technology boo-boo. I'm a boo-boo for technology, bro.
Okay.
And so I went about 5 hours without technology because Spectrum sent us you know how you get the text. You know, due to inclement weather in your area, internet blah 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 will be then it's down until blah 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 time.
Right.
Right. And blah blah time came. And I waited. What's going on? And then I looked at the phone. The phone was lit up. You know how your phone lights up by itself? And I'm like, oh, don't tell me they said that's another text. Another text. Due to inclement weather in your area. Oh, so I'm like, man. And then I'm deflated, right? I'm deflated.
Mm-hmm.
And then the internet shows back up like a thief in the night. Like the internet shows back up. I don't even know it's on, right? I doze for like maybe 10 minutes, which is like 3 minutes in Uncle Freezy time. Right?
Oh, okay.
and so I hear a blast from the past.
Okay.
A random song on YouTube called I Talk to Myself. Now, I know you may not remember that song because it was a copycatter's delight. I Talk to Myself. Do you remember a song called My Prerogative? It's my prerogative.
Absolutely.
I can do what I want to do. It's my prerogative. And so Christopher Williams had a song that came out about 9 or 10 months later called I Talk to Myself. And guess what it sounds like? My prerogative. And so instead of getting my lazy, sleep deprived self up and going to the computer and doing pre-production.
Yes.
I watched the Christopher Williams Unsung. And then instead of leaving there and taking my sleep deprived, sleep starved self to the computer and doing pre-production and post-production, because mind you, everything got cut off abruptly because the internet went out.
Right.
I drifted. I was thinking, is Christopher Williams a better singer than Howard Hewitt?
Pure vocals. Christopher Williams, man, he may not have a slew of hits, but his voice was kind of crazy.
His voice is iconic.
Howard Hewitt, though.
Howard Hewitt
see, we're gonna have to things like that. When we have those kind of conversations, man, we have to be able to play songs back to back. We got hit them ballads back to back, because in the moment I can say one thing and then go listen to another song and be like, I might have been wrong. That was a tough one. I'm not going. That's a tough one.
When we get big enough to pay that $3,600 a piece for each song, we'll do it, bro. we can play their catalog, but let me do this real quick.
in about 3 or 4 minutes, we are going to have a special guest. We are going to have Jeremy Maynard from Fathering. They have a multicast show. I was on a guest on his show last week. Had a lot of fun. We're going to add the link to that show in the chat. For those you guys that are interested, it's gonna be fun. It's just an informal interview, even though I'm dressed like the 6th grade science teacher, and Master Chuck is dressed like the jet is on the tarmac, right? Fly.
I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
It's super fly. Or like Missy said, he is super fly, super duper fly. Right? Okay. So we'll have Pastor Jay on in a few minutes, just opening up the show right now. Welcome everybody in. Right?
Yes, sir.
But Chuck, Christopher Williams or Howard Hewitt? I know it's a lot to think about. So while you think about that, 702 or the Pointer Sisters?
Sir, why would you even why would you put that address next to the Pointer Sisters? Like, not even, it's not close. It's not close.
Okay.
It's not close vocally.
Okay. 702 or Sister Sledge?
Like, I know that was rhetorical, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Sister Sledge.
Okay, all right. 702 or the Jones Girls?
702.
I knew you had it that way.
Of course, I was going to say it. I was going to say it that way because I know you love the Jones Girls. I know this. You make an argument for the Jones Girls all the time.
Because they're forgotten. They're forgotten to history. That's one of the things. One of the things about our culture is that our culture moves at such a pace that people tend to get forgotten over the course of history. Right? People tend to get forgotten over the course of history.
I have a theory on that, but it's and I'll be very brief with it. I ain't gonna get on the soapbox this morning, but I feel that because of the way that the record business is designed, where labels are in control of the artists, and now they're in control of the artists to a point where they're taking out life insurance policies on these people, on these artists, on these young people, especially the rappers today, because they know it's only one post away, one live upload of them saying something, and here it is, essentially a nobody from the other side of town comes over and shoots him and kill him. Now their catalog goes up 700%. They get paid from the insurance company, and they're getting paid off of record sales. So when it comes to artists dying out,
it's not just music. It's not just music though. It's all types of entities do that nowadays. Companies do that for CEOs. Production companies do that for actors and actresses and things of that sort. I found that out when I was in the insurance biz, and it's because the partnership that they have, since they go into business with each other, they have a vested interest in that person's long-term survival to keep producing the product at a certain level. And if that person dies, then they don't get the return on investment. I thought it was just one thing, and it turns out that's a common industry practice, so to speak. Right. But it's one of those things you don't know about until you hear it. You're like, what? And then you hear, like, okay, the CEO of Verizon is covered by Verizon just in case something happens, because he had been making them profits for 17 quarters in a row, and they want to make sure that they're covered in case something happens.
Okay.
All right, so let me do this. Let me do this real quick, Chuck. I want to play this joint called Hood Goddess by DSJ. And while we do this, we'll prepare for our special guest, Jeremy Maynard. You ready for that? Y'all ready for that, chat?
Let's do it.
Yeah, y'all ready for that? Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Shorty, let me holler at you. Girl, it's the way you walk, command attention. It's all about your vibe, your true intention. I call you Hood Goddess. You're misunderstood, 'cause you're from the hood. From first eye contact, I knew I had to have that. Had a feeling you were something special. Didn't know if I could match that. You draw a crowd just to say hi. You make it happen, you stay fly. You big and everyone know. If I was a stock, you would raise mine. Even with a t-shirt and sweats on. Girl, you work it for me. Don't matter what they say about you. Baby, you're perfect. Girl, it's the way you walk, command attention. It's all about your vibe, your true intention. I call you Hood Goddess. You're misunderstood, 'cause you're from the hood. That Dominican girl, East African queen, call you my cinnamon girl. Sweet like grandma cobbler. You were a #1 prospect, even if you're raised in the projects, and you got the whole game on lock. Cops and robbers, they'll build an altar, you're so bomb. You shoot them down so calm. You don't be playing no games, but sexy in jerseys you throw on. I'm your soldier, I will march in line. You know it's your world. Let me hit you with that more in line. You go, girl, it's the way you walk, command attention. It's all about your vibe, your true intention. I call you Hood Goddess. You're misunderstood, 'cause you're from the hood.
They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Well, I would love to be the one that holds you, console you in times of grief, and listen when you're trying to speak. Your smile, it brightens up the darkest moods, and looking in your eyes is like gazing at the stars and moon. Just thinking about you, damn, I can hardly move. The depths of my feelings are hard to convey, like trying to catch fish at the edge of a bay, like I'm caught in an infinite wave, 'cause even when you do the simplest things,
Man, that song is still fire in my, even though I hear it just about every day, man. I'm loving it, bro. I'm loving it.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy, DSJ.
The original DSJ. What's good? What's good? What's good? All right. Hey, Chuck.
Yes, sir.
Without further ado, let me bring in our very special guest, our esteemed guest, Jeremy Maynard from Furthering Fathering Multicast Show. Right? Let's bring him in. Jeremy Maynard. Hey there, fella.
Hey.
How you doing?
Excited to be alive.
Hey, me as well.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's good to see you, boss.
Good to be seen and not viewed.
It's good to be seen and not viewed. Trust.
Wow, I like that. Yes.
Trust. From a person that has medical issues, even ongoing. I understand.
Same.
I understand, man.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. You doing pretty good?
Oh, man. Like I always say, excited to be alive.
Excited to be alive. Bro.
Always say that. Excited to be alive.
Yeah.
It's real. Yeah.
Let me first tell you this. I really enjoyed the conversation we had last week, even though you allowed me to talk your ears off.
Well, it's a dialogue. Both people have to talk. That's how it works.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
You know me, caring and sharing. So I talk 90 and you spoke 10.
And I can talk.
Oh man, it was fun. It was fun. But listen, before we get into the dichotomy that makes up or the ingredients that makes up our relationship, how we kick it.
Yes.
Let's talk about the entity that you're representing and why it's important to the culture. Can you explain to the viewers what it is exactly and why it helps the community?
As co-CEO and co-founder of the Furthering Fathering Corporation, we founded upon the story of two dads that were running into two different issues, but in similar fashion. We were heads or leaders in International Christian Brotherhood over at CCC in Brooklyn. Shout out to Pastor Maynard and Dr. Anario Chaparro. And we were heading up a group called Josiah, and my best friend and I, Lamont Jones, who's co-founder of and CEO of Furthering Fathering with me. We were having these deep conversations about fatherhood because we were in the midst of all sorts of things. One dealing with fatherlessness, the other one dealing with family court. And we said, these conversations that we're having, they're going to bless somebody. So we decided to start packaging them. You know, we were having a national call at the time, a call-in, and this is back in freeconferencecall.com days, and men were calling in from all over the country with all sorts of issues. And this was we believe in creating a safe place. So what happens here stays here, kind of thing.
Right.
And men were free to be as open and honest as they were with whatever they were struggling with. Being a Christian organization, and we care about the soul of the man. So there were men on there crying, it was really powerful stuff. Being free from stuff that they've been burdened with. A lot of it came down to fatherhood issues, fatherlessness issues, or issues as fathers not being able to see the kids or what have you. So we packaged it. We said this is something serious. So back in 2012, when we were doing this call, we said let's take this serious, because my best friend was already in CCC ministering a thing called Father to Father, and I was studying to become a pastor. And I said, let me invest in you, Lamont, in this thing, this fatherhood thing. And we mulling over names. We had faithful fathers, but we found there were other faithful fathers out there as a group. So we said, I was writing a book, and the first two words in the book was Furthering Fathering. So I said, okay, let's use that. And I know it's a tongue twister because a lot of people say Furthering Fatherhood, Furthering Fathers, because the second one is hard to say after the first one. So furthering, father ring, and I say focus on the ring because it has a ring to it. So it's
Right.
so, but the group we started connecting with men. Not only just in church, but also in school areas. There was a councilman who let us use his office at one point. We started a podcast in 2013, and the beautiful thing about 2013 is that is when we officially became a nonprofit. We became a nonprofit in 2013 on guess what date? March 4th. So we take it not only as the date of our founding, but a command from God to March 4th. So
wow. Okay. I see you. Okay.
Yeah. So we started having meetings, fatherhood meetings, in Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island. Then it started spreading. We had an event in North Carolina called Resuscitating the Heart of the Fathers with our brother down there, Colin Pickney, the chaplain of the Charlotte Hornets. And we actually honored Stephen Silas when he was the assistant coach at the time. And we've done stuff in Kansas City and Atlanta, Georgia. And what happened is it started burgeoning. Our first contacts on social media, we used to do what was called accountability questions. So we would, very first stuff we would do, and what was strange was some of the answers were coming from women. So we were like, okay, we have to deal with the whole family and not just dad. So we started honoring women as dynamic daughters of distinction. We had a symposium on the effects of fathers on daughters and women, but our podcast was going throughout the entire time. We had several events. We have a lot of curriculum, written books, and what have you together. And the curriculum is really impacted because the guys that some of our earliest fatherhood events, and not even events, because we'd have weekly meetings called fatherhood forums, and we would meet at various places and what have you. And a lot of those men are still connected and still vibing and stuff.
Vibing and stuff.
And stuff. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot of material in terms of we poured a lot of love to see men really free.
Right.
Free from the foolishness. I always talk about this term that has been bandied about. It's a psyop term. I call it a psyop term. It's called it's a toxic masculinity, which is a nonsense because
it's fake.
It's fake. It's all fake. It's fugazi because your masculinity is never toxic because God designed you to be a man. Right. What can be toxic is your character. That's a whole different thing. But don't attach it to a masculinity. And I could go into some deep stuff where there's a Baphomet mentality that's pervasive right now. That to make the world asexual, you have to destroy the man.
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean. For one, it's like putting clean water in a dirty glass. That's what I always liken it to that. It's like putting clean water in a dirty glass. You put clean water in a dirty glass. Guess what your water is?
Dirty.
You know what I'm saying? And so I understand where you're going. And trust me, over the years, this may not be a popular opinion, or people may not like to hear it. But the further we get along, the less masculine you see men in today's society, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, so I remember just real quick. I'll tell a story about my grandfather smoking a corn pipe, right? Mm-hmm. And we have a flat tire on this car called the Ford LTD, Now
Wow.
I know y'all may not remember.
I remember it.
Yeah, I may not remember those, right? But we got a flat tire, and my uncles are into my idea, like, hey man, and these are the dudes I consider macho, and I know macho was a term that people don't use anymore. It's a retired term, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these guys are macho. You know, I used to see these macho men eat an apple with a switchblade. They'll pull out a blade out of their pocket and eat an apple. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, my grandmother used to wash the apple off and cut it into little pieces and give it to us, you know, because we babies, right? Taking little baby bites. And I used to tell my grandma, don't cut my apple. I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? And I was a man. I was about 5. I was a grown man. I was about 5 or 6 years old. She couldn't tell me I wasn't a man. You know what I'm saying? And so, but anyway, I see my grandfather with a corn pipe. He like, what y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna change the tire? Or I'm sorry, y'all gonna fix the tire? Or y'all gonna stand there and talk? Go on over there with the women. Now he talking to the dudes that I always felt like was the epitome of masculinity, right? As a little boy, this is like the early 70s, right? Early 70s. I'm like, man, he talking to my uncles and them like that, like they, and my uncle like, hey, old man. And this is when men used to have bass in their voice. That's another thing. I'm like, why men don't speak with bass in their voice? What's going on with it? But anyway, I see my grandfather. He's like, hey man, you gonna fix the tire or what? And my uncle get this car jack, and I know jacks are different now because you know as we get further along into our march towards whatever it is we're marching towards, you don't have heavy things anymore. You know, you let the machine do the work. You don't use your muscles like you used to back in the day, right? And so he pulls out this jack that's taller than me. And he looked at me and my grandpa's like, Uncle Friesen, take the jack over into the car and up there by the bumper. And man, I grabbed that jack. And that jack has to be twice as heavy as me. Now it wasn't, but it felt that way. And it was hot. It's like July, August. And so I'm dragging the jack, and my grandfather turned around on the corn pipe, and he spits it. He got tobacco in his mouth, tobacco, and the corn pipe at the same time, bro. Same time, right? Like, hey, boy, didn't I tell you that? And I'm like, and this is me, you know. Remember, I'm a man. I'm like 5. Man, didn't I tell you I'm coming? Like all of us are in the yard flexing our masculinity at the time. Hey, old man, I told you I'm coming, right? Well, hurry up then. See, and the reason why I bring this up is because nowadays, when you see 3 or 4 generations of men flexing masculinity, it looks peculiar and out of place. Right? It looks peculiar and out of place, right?
Yeah.
Because nowadays you see men walking around with these, Chuck, what do they call them? Merces? Is that what they call them?
So I still have no idea what those contraptions are.
Man purses. Nowadays, like, yo, in the church, you don't see as much masculinity as what you used to see. You know,
everywhere.
Yes,
you're right. You're right.
You see, the church is where I started noticing these things first. To be honest, not saying that it didn't exist everywhere first. In the church, you see, like, man, little Jimmy is over there shaking the thing out that tambourine over there. Shake it with that tambourine. And it's these things that you notice as things get further along into and so you like, hey Jimmy, man, the church van got a flat tire, man. Can you come out here? Uncle Freezy, I ain't going out there. Man, I'm in here helping them bake the cakes. Bake the cakes. Man, if you don't get, you almost made me cuss and got out. But I noticed these things, right? Mm-hmm. And so listen, I'm the type of person, I don't begrudge nobody or wish ill intent on or expect people to be anything other than what they want to be or what they tell me they would like to be. So I don't begrudge anybody anything. But what I'm saying is when you go from 1972 or 73, where a man only has one dress shirt, one white one, and he wear that shirt to church every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? One white dress shirt, he wear that to weddings, funerals, church. That's it. To now men, you look in their closet and they have all type of light colored pastel shirts in their closet, all type of light colored pastel ties in their closet. It's no more black suit, white shirt, black tie, masculine, overly masculine, testosterone filled man. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm not speaking to the absence of men. What I'm saying is I notice these things. Mm-hmm. Right. And see, Pastor J, see how you see, Chuck, this is what happened last week.
Yeah.
I speak 90 and he speaks 10.
Well, I don't like to interrupt because I like people to get their full thought out, and you have, and especially when it's a quality thought. You see, there's programming that causes things to change. There's if you notice, there was the strength of men in what we call situational comedy, which was broadcast into everyone's living room. And the man focused on family. The man focused on his wife and his children, the nuclear family. But as time went on, the butt of the joke, the clown, the buffoon, the fool of the show became the father. That was not unintentional.
Okay.
The Bart Simpsons, the Married with Children, I forget his name.
Al Bundy.
Al Bundy's started taking over the airwaves, and there was a minimizing of not just the importance of fatherhood, but a mockery of it. And in similitude to the Willie Lynch letter, in similitude to the norm of divide and conquer, fueled with the whole battle of the sexes, Billie Jean King versus I forget the gentleman's name.
I forget his name too.
Yeah, I forget his name. And it started fueling internal strife. And in order for a man, his first goal is to maintain peace in the house, would be to acquiesce and adjust.
Bobby Riggs, that's his name. Bobby
Riggs. Yes, and to acquiesce and adjust to the changes that are happening. And in our silence, because as men, we speak less. It's scientifically shown that though Freezy and I can talk, and I was a quiet kid, but Freezy and I can talk, and I'm seeing Chuck can talk too. But we're a rare breed, and there was the silence and strength. But science shows that women use twice as many words per day than a man does. Just do, right? And what we found is that in stocks, bonds, and commodities, something that is rare is valuable. So because we spoke less when we did speak, it had weight. But the problem with that is because we spoke less, we were also less defensive. So as things were shifting and changing, nobody said, hey, wait, because we want to maintain that word you called earlier, machismo, which is not masculinity, by the way. It is a projection of strength, but the masculine man is a man at heart, right? And that goes into our 5 core principles of further and fathering. The first mega need of a man is honor. We need it more than we need sex, and we need it more than we need food. We love both sex and food, but we need honor more than we need sex and food. This is why the 5-year-old Freezy could be in the conversation. Hey, old man,
Didn't I tell you I was coming? yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because honor is a lifeblood of manhood. So, honor, what is honor? And because it's a foreign word nowadays, because we're so narcissistic and myopic and self-centered, less centered on family, more centered on self, which is a trick from the garden that goes all the way back to the garden. I'll get into that another time. But because we're not as strong as by ourselves, God himself said it is not good that man should be alone. You notice when your granddad was changing the tire, he called a group. If you look at a group like the Quakers, or what do they call them now? Who live in Pennsylvania?
Oh, geez.
They don't say, "I'm going to build a barn for my
Amish.
Amish, the Amish, just the Amish, exactly. They don't say, "I'm going to build a barn for my family." Say, "We going to build a farm for my family." So the people from all the neighborhood would join in and get together. See, I'm a son of a Bayesian man, from Barbados, and people don't know this. At one point, Barbados, it may still be, was the highest literacy rate in the world. The small island full of black folk. Right. So there's a sense of sturdiness, of regal mindset that a Bayesian man has, but he knew to build that what was already there wasn't good enough. So our house out in Long Island, in Lakeview, Long Island. Shout out to Lakeview.
Lakeview Gators. Shout out to Lakeview.
Shout out to Lakeview. And we the house was a Cape Cod, and he wanted to replace the center beam. He wanted one of those steel girders like you saw in the World Trade Center. So he went and ordered a steel girder, had it delivered, and he knew he couldn't put it in himself. So all the men from the neighborhood, his friends, came by. Mr. Sankey Davis, who happens to be the grandfather of Jalen Brunson, right? Okay. Sankey Davis came by. Silas Catwell, Mr. Holmes from across the street, Mr. Durant, all these strong men. And I remember them sitting as a little kid in the living room, watching them all lift, because he had 2 steel support beams to get this support beam in the middle of the house up, and all these grown men together, the growl, and get it into place. All the men from the neighborhood, all the men from the neighborhood, and we are lacking that nowadays. We're lacking that because the not the brute strength, but the group strength, right? And it's important that men, like we're meeting together now and speaking with strength, unabashed, unapologetically,
right,
with love,
of course,
and wisdom,
right.
To build each other, to build our families. So that is the core understanding of honor. Is not just your regular level of respect. Honor sees the value that this person is made by God to be who God has called him to be.
So I got a couple questions for you.
Yes, sir.
So what do you say to people that say, and mainly women, that they don't need a man no more? They don't need a man for stuff like that. They can raise their family by themselves. Enough of this foolishness with a man. They don't need. What do you say to a woman that says, I can do bad all by myself, I don't need a man, I can raise this family, these 2 boys and 2 girls, all by myself?
Can and best are 2 different things. And speaking, and I always honor people understanding that they're speaking from their experience,
right,
and from their hurt,
right.
And just because it's possible and can be done doesn't mean that it's the best way to do it, right? Doesn't mean it's the best way to do it, the optimal, what's best for the children and the generations of the family, the lineage, the line of the family. And you don't want to break the line of the family. There is yes, there is strength in the ability to raise children on your own, but there's more strength when 2 do it. In the Bible, there's a scripture that says 1 can chase 1,000, but 2 send 10,000 to flight. Meaning you can do exponentially more in agreement.
Right.
But the issue is agreement. That's where the problem is. It's not, you see, it becomes arguing points of that I don't need. You do need, but God has given you the strength to stand in and he stands in the gap and provides your need. It says he is the friend of the friendless, the father of the fatherless, and the husbandman of the widow, or the one without a husband. Okay. So it can be done, and it can be done well. But what's most optimal for a child to see is the imperfect woman and the imperfect man in a perfect union. What does that mean? And the word perfect is not flawless. The word perfect means maturity.
Spiritually mature. I knew you was going there. I knew where you were going. Spiritually mature. I knew you was headed there.
Mature. Right. When the flawed man and the flawed woman, because we don't like to say women are flawed, but just like we are, they are. When the flawed man and the flawed women look to a perfect God and in what's called a union, a oneness, the 2 shall become one flesh, right? When they are in that paradigm, the child sees how to leverage and move in qualitative relationship. Right. You see what happens when one is missing. That what takes its place is the ideal, and the ideal is not reality. Right. When you have the flawed man growing in front of his child, and you have the flawed woman growing in front of the child will have a perspective that it does not have to be and maintain the way it is, that there can be adjustments made, and I learn to agree. I build my relationships on the foundation of agreement. Okay. I could go into a whole thing with covenant and contract. We're in a contract world. Okay. Right? You give me honor, I give you love, right?
But that's agreed upon, right?
That's agreed upon. But see, the basis of contract is on a lack of loyalty. I expect you to mess up. However, covenant is different. See, these are foreign words, honor and covenant. Covenant is different. Covenant is the man pours all his sand in a center bag called marriage. The woman pours all her sand in a center bag called marriage. Can you take your sand back?
Right.
No, you can't take your sand back. That's oneness, right?
Right.
So the best thing for a child to see, and this is what our community needs to get back to, because prior to the 60s, 85 to 90% of Black families were headed by a husband and a wife.
Okay.
Understand? So the anger of understanding now, because we don't want to be prisoners of the moment. And the moment is the momentum heading in the wrong direction also.
Okay.
But we want to, when someone tells me you're better off without what is necessary to show your son's strength, what is necessary to show your daughter what a husband looks like, what a father looks like. You see, there's something that's going on. We think the concept of raising, right? Raising children.
Right.
We think we're raising children. The whole concept is wrong. We're actually raising adults.
Right.
We're raising future husbands. This is the goal. Future wives. Future whatever they're going to be in their life as an adult, mature.
Okay.
And yes. So the understanding of what was is lost in some minds, and only what is popular now. And what's popular now is a very myopic. We're narcissistic as a society. It's not man or woman. We're narcissistic as a society.
Right.
And that narcissism comes because we've become self-focused. Self-focused means if you don't do.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Is there a difference between self-awareness, self-care, and self-focus?
All three are different, just based on the words. Yes.
Okay.
So say the three again.
So self-awareness.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Self-focus.
Yes.
And I forget the
self-care.
Self-care. Yeah.
Okay. Self-care.
Right. And the reason why I ask you that is because what I realized over the years, not just through family struggles,
yes,
right, and vicariously through talking to my friends, like say through talking to Chuck, but I also see dramas on television,
yes,
that portray these family issues. What I realize is that there may be an issue of an awakening of something that is caused by these situations, like the absence of a man, right? Or a man not being the right man for the woman that the woman chose. So the woman is now scarred, and now the boy that's looking at the man do wrong, right, and walking out the door and being there with the woman that's crying, and the mother-in-law coming over, and the aunties and them coming over. Now the little boy is in that circle around those women, siding with them because he has no other choice, because he can't just take off and go because he's a little boy. I mean, unless Uncle Freezy, Uncle Freezy just do anything. He just Uncle Freezy was just off. But anyway.
Because we need equipoise. That's a fancy word for balance.
Okay.
We need equipoise. We that's a fancy word for balance. You need to be poised. You know what you always talk about a quarterback being poised in the pocket.
Right.
To have poise. Yeah, that's a picture of masculinity. To have poise.
Right. Being steady in the moment. Being steady in the moment.
And aware. Because you use the word self-focused, self-aware. Now awareness.
And self-care. Like ultimate protection. Like being in that fight or flight mode because something's happening with two adults, and all of a sudden you as a kid you get into this fight or flight mode. Like, do I go in the room right now? Do I stay out here right now? Do I comfort mama right now? Do I go find daddy and tell daddy off? Or whatever it is. But that moment of what do I become in this moment?
right?
Yeah.
I find that to be one of the things for black families. For black families, I hear that a lot. Women say, I don't need no man. I can do bad all by myself. And there are TV shows centered around that. Like, you don't need a man.
All the independent women say, ah.
Yeah.
In the club.
Yeah.
In the club.
All the single ladies. All the single ladies. Yeah.
And that's to the detriment. That's to the detriment of the future generations. There's an intentionality of the design. Man is the protector. Now, if the protection becomes abusive and perverted, that's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem. There must be accountability. Now, when I talked about our 5 core principles, I already mentioned honor. Honor is the lifeblood of a relationship. The level of your relationship is the level of your honor is the level of your relationship, no matter what that relationship is. And there's 7 core relationships: relationship with God, your spouse or spouse to be, your elders, your brothers and sisters, or friends and friend group, your children and those you're designed to speak into, whether it be your children, your employees, your disciples, whatever, And 6 is your strangers, and 7 is yourself. So there's 7. 7 is the number of perfection. The 7 core relationships that speak to who we are. You see, the foolishness comes when we really think of that word independence. That's the biggest lie in the world. Nobody's independent.
Right.
Nobody's.
Right.
No, you can do bad by yourself.
Right.
Because everybody's doing bad by themselves.
Right. I had this conversation with somebody that told me he didn't need anybody. He could do everything on his own.
No.
He even went on and said something along the lines of how certain people believe that they're of a higher order and all of that stuff. I was like, no, brother. Everybody that's successful is plugged into the source.
Right.
Everybody that's successful is plugged into the source, bro. It's why when you are born, you're not just spout out. You have to cut an umbilical cord because you were once plugged in to someone else. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and even with the love making, you
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? You feel me?
Yeah.
You feel
Right.
me? And then your spouse, your lady, takes when y'all were plugged in, and now when she has a baby, that baby comes out plugged to somebody else. It's the cycle of life. This mentality of we can do anything we want without any help or assistance is a fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right?
I don't make my car. I didn't make my car.
No,
I didn't make my house. I didn't make my dashiki.
Right.
I know Chuck didn't make that fly hat. You know,
and it is fly, by the way, and it is fly. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that fly house he's in, that fly background.
Man.
It took several people that you don't even know
working together.
You know, because we're so caught in the moment, some of our frustration and anger, we don't understand how we sound in the big picture. I always use this adage. You go into a fast food restaurant and pick your choice, you know, PDQs, Chick-fil-A, wherever it is. And you say you just want to do this for fries. And they say, you know, we just put them in the fryer. It's going to take about 15 minutes. You say, 15 minutes? This is supposed to be fast food. 15 minutes. But you're not realizing that someone planted a potato last year.
Yep.
You're only seeing this small section of the process. And you're frustrated in this small section of the process because you're quote unquote independent and self-focused and not self-aware, right? Because you're self-focused and not self-aware, you lack patience and love any form of love boils down to two words: patience and kindness, or long suffering and kindness. That's a 1 Corinthians 4.
So I have a problem with the problem with the long suffering thing.
Oh, we all do. We want to know why? Because we're mortal, and we only have a certain amount of time here. And we talked about it with our Knicks love. Our Knicks
with
love.
The Knicks. And you read. Am I that easy to read? I have a billboard. I have like a billboard right here, like right on my forehead. Like, can y'all just win a championship before I kick the bucket? Because when I was young, I was like, just win a championship. I just want to win a championship. But now I see the bucket. The bucket is coming into view, and I know at some point I'm gonna have to kick it, right? And before I kick that said bucket, I want to win a championship. Yeah, I just want to see it.
Yeah, same here.
I mean? Right.
Same here. But the lack of patience and the lack of kindness is the problem. That's when you start looking at self, and you think you're self-sufficient. Now self-awareness. Awareness is a part of something that I call appreciation.
Okay.
I preach on this. Appreciation. Appreciation is three things. Appreciation is thankfulness. I'm thankful. And the word thank comes from the word think. I'm thinking of you and I honor you. It goes back to the word honor. I'm thinking of you and I honor and I appreciate what's going on. That's awareness now.
Right.
So you're thankful, but now you're aware. Appreciation is an awareness of what's going on. You understand that all things are working together for good. That this is one small pixel in the grand scheme. And you put things into perspective. You see, if you put your hand in front of your face like this, that's the small picture. Your hand is a small picture. And the closer it gets, the more blurry it gets until it blacks out. That's when you're so focused on the small picture. It blocks everything. But if you pull back your hand and you can see your hand in a perspective of everything else around it, right? So you're thankful, then you're aware, and then the third thing, the appreciation is an increase in value. When you invest in something and you want to see the fruit in it, it's called appreciation, that its value goes up.
I see what you did there.
Right?
I see what you did.
Right?
I see what you did there.
So when you walk in real self-awareness, you're thankful because it's not about me. And it's not just me. Matter of fact, when you tell somebody else that they're an important part of your life, what you're admitting is that you are not your whole life.
Right. Right. Right.
They're an important part of your life.
Right.
So you are not your whole life.
Right. Man, that's deep. Man, listen, I wish we can rock.
I know.
Man, I wish we could just rock and rock and rock. But man, I appreciate you coming on, man, for these words, bro. Listen, Chuck, you got something you want to ask before we wrap up with Pastor Jay?
Nah, man. I've learned a long time ago, man. Once the preacher preach, you don't go up there and say nothing else. Just amen. Let's go home.
But amen. Right. Well, Pastor Jay, first of all, thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate you, right? Yes. But you knew that before you even came on. You knew we appreciate you.
Listen, man, love you to life. You know the way everybody says love you to death. Love you to life. Love you to life. Love you to life.
And we need to say that more often.
Yes.
That needs to be heard.
Yes.
Not just the person you're speaking to directly, but the passers-by need to know that love is abound.
Yes.
Even if it don't directly impact, if it don't impact them directly, they need to know that love is in the air.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
For real. And you said something when you were on my show that we're friends.
Right.
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 That's an important term. We can get into that next time because I don't want to take up any more time. But that's a powerful word that men need to say to each other. Yo, you my friend, and really live up to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how about this? How about
Yes.
the next time you come on, you promise that we'll talk about that?
Yes, I promise.
All right. Duly
If
noted.
it be his will, because just like you, I have health issues too.
Yeah, man. So until the next time, man, we'll put a pin in this, right? And then maybe if schedules cooperate, and schedules. Bro, I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. I to tell you how fast life moves, right? I had a doctor's appointment scheduled for this morning.
Wow.
And so Tuesday, I was like, I bump that back. I bump it back. You know what I'm saying? And then have you on do this.
Yes.
And then go pay them money. Because I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go to the doctor's appointment. They're gonna swipe my card, they're gonna call me fat, and then I'm gonna leave. and so what's gonna happen is but before they swipe my card and call me fat, they're gonna make me wait for like 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So so Pastor J, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Love you to
life. And at some point, you got to invite me and Chuck back to your show.
Yes. I would love to have you on my show
because you have not heard anecdotes until you heard Chuck Allen speak in depth about stuff, bro. Nobody can. I'm telling you, bro. I've sat in this chair. Nobody can make you relate to this thing that we call the human condition.
Yes.
Like Chuck, when he just started talking about common stuff.
Yes.
Not fancy stuff, but I'm talking about getting his uncle truck and going and picking up the work crew and all that stuff. And all that stuff we remember doing like 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Wow.
Right. So at some point we got to come on. We'll keep our email. We'll keep an eye on the email box.
Yes.
Waiting for the invitation.
Yes.
Again, thank you very much for coming on. The sad thing about this is, I got to do the next morning drive in like 45 minutes. And if I don't, my phone will just be all over the place. Right.
Love you to life.
Love you to life,
this is an important time because it's a time that God is giving you. Use it wisely. Use it wisely.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jeremy Maynard from Furthering Fathering. We call him Pastor J. We really appreciate him being here. Again, sir, thank you.
And I got to give a shout out to my best friend Lamont. Love you to life, brother.
All right, y'all. That was Pastor J. Thanks again, brother. All right. Man, I get so pumped up, man. I get so excited when we have guests on, man. And
yeah, man.
These conversations are like, wow, Chuck. Wow,
absolutely.
that was amazing.
That was a great conversation. I wanted it to go on. Like, man, I'm one of those people, man. When somebody cooking, you just sit back and let them cook.
Yeah,
because man, that brother was dropping some jewels this morning. I hope everyone was listening. Like when I go to church, I hate the person who tries to preach the preacher's message while they're preaching. Like, that gets on my nerves. Let him say it. Let her say it. They don't need your help, right?
Because they already got help. They already got help from a higher calling, from someone. They already got help from God. They don't need a man or woman to help them. They already got help from God. So they don't need.
And the Lord said, "Let there be light." Yes, sir. And you like, can the preacher say? Like, we know he's about to say that, but can you just let him? So yeah, man. I was just like, wow. Like you think you have an idea of a man until you have a conversation or you hear him speak, and then then you have to like take a step back. Like, okay, wow. because trust and believe, man. Like there are a lot of people that have doctor or reverend or pastor attached to their name, and you couldn't tell them the difference between them and the dude that hung out on the corner.
You can't tell the difference between them and Dr. Pepper. You can't tell the difference between them and Dr. Scholl's. You know what I'm saying? You can't. Yeah.
Right.
And so Chuck, I'm with you. Not to cut you off, but the thing that I like to do is kind of empower people, but more also give them clear the runway so that message can take off. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we do stuff right. We have these platforms and such, and then we use the platforms for like foolishness and coonery and buffoonery. You know what I'm saying? And use it for that instead of using these platforms for the powers of good. You feel me?
Right.
And with saying that, I'm not saying that I'm the most eloquent speaker or I'm the most organized, but what I do know how to do is recognize when something good's going on, and I'll shut up and get out of the way. Here, you take it. It's your turn. You carry the weight, like working together. Like you got a message, you got a message, something that's positive. I know how to shut up and get out the way. And honestly, I know how to shut other people up. Y'all be quiet. Let Pastor J talk. Or y'all be quiet. Let Chuck talk. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so I might be good at that. Let me shout out a couple people in the chat. I Absolutely. See Miss Kenyetta in the chat. Hey, Miss Kenyetta, how you doing, baby? I see Corey Jameson in the chat. What's up, Mr. Corey? What's good? How y'all this morning? I see y'all. Hey, Chuck, at some point, we may have to revisit a conversation.
Not the conversation that we had before the Rev came on. We ain't talking about that again.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the 702 one. Not the 702
Oh, okay.
One.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was about to say no. we ain't doing that one.
Yeah, just real quick before we get out of here, just to put a bow on it, man. Just to put a bow on it, man. Before we get out of here, tell me who you picked, Howard Hewitt or Christopher Williams. Once you say that, we can wrap. I'll go get me some coffee, prepared to do the next morning drive, go in there and talk Tom Thibodeau rotations and the Knicks front office for about 3 or 4 hours, and that'll be it. So tell me this: what do you prefer? Do you prefer the singer that hits all of the notes and does it the way that the music is designed, or do you prefer the hymn? And you know what I'm talking about. You know how you go to church and you sing your hymn and everybody is singing a song on. Well, we try to sing these songs on key, right?
Yes.
And then there is the one that you know can sing.
Right.
The one that has the
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The one that has the one, you know, when we get into say an Amazing Grace or some type of song, they gonna put their soul in it.
Right.
Like when they singing for like the glory of God, they forget it's people looking at them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That, do you prefer that one, or do you prefer everything to be pitch perfect?
No, I prefer that one. I prefer a person who sings with emotion. That's why I really love Mary J. Blige. Like, she sings with a lot of passion, but vocally, you know, it ain't, you know. So if that is, I would.
Let me bring my guy. Hold on, Chuck. I'm sorry. Let me bring my bad. Let me bring back in. I just saw the thing, man. I didn't know. So instead of, because we was gonna wrap up, I didn't know how much time you had. I didn't want to take up too much time. But Chuck was breaking down the difference. Yeah, Chuck, just go, Chuck.
Okay, so yeah, like Mary Jane, like I don't she doesn't hit the notes properly, right? But there's such there's a dynamics to what she's singing that you feel it, right? And so a lot of the singers that come from church, a lot of them aren't formally trained, so they don't know how to sing the staccato and all that. They just sing from inspiration and spirit. And so that sound, that feeling is totally different. And you can tell automatically they sang in church. Oh, no, that's church singing there, right? That's why you could tell there was a difference between Whitney Houston and others, right?
Anita Baker.
Anita, right.
Oh, I love Anita.
Even the male singers, you could tell which ones were in church and were singers in church. So
and which one sang in school, and which one sang in school, like had the ones that were in chorus.
Beyonce. Beyonce was in chorus. Like you could tell that she's a trained vocal singer. She hits the right notes. But when you hear a Jennifer Hudson, as soon as you hear her open her mouth, oh, man, she from First Baptist, from the rough side of the mountain.
Yeah, she from that church on the corner.
Right. You know what I mean?
Just fans. No 18.
No 18. You know somebody can sing when your auntie and them, your older auntie grab that Jackson Funeral Home fan, the one with Mahalia Jackson on the front like this. Mahalia Jackson doing this on it. Oh God, why you sing that song, girl?
Right.
You know she excited when she say girl. Because girl ain't really no word. We like to say girl, but when your auntie say girl, you know your auntie feeling it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
And that's for Soul Finger. Soul Finger, that's for your country self, Soul Finger. Soul Finger 12 is in the chat. Soul Finger, that's for you. Go, girl. Say that song, girl. And you know. Yeah, man. Yeah, my bad, Chuck. Yeah, hey. So Pastor Jay, this is what we do every morning. Chuck will say something, get me excited. I go on a tangent. I calm down. He say something, get me excited. I go on a tangent, and it's like we do that for like an hour and a half every day.
That sounds great.
It's
That's
like
real
classic
conversation. That's good.
Yeah, it's the classic back and forth, man. The classic back and forth every day. It's the perfect combination of and morning shows need hosts like that too, that have organic chemistry, that like each other. It's not like a job, man. It's just we rock and roll every morning, man. It's just fun to do. We talk about stuff that matter. That's why we appreciate you coming on this morning.
Absolutely.
Right. And we tend to have the conversations about the same stuff that you normally have with like your cousins and your friends, like the break rooms at work, or after church, you in the churchyard, you standing out there talking after church is over, or your homeboy from your class that you graduated with, you see him in the grocery store. Them conversations, we tend to do that here, and that's why we call it vibes.
Yes.
And stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Before I go, I wanted to give my 2 cents about your question about Christopher Williams and Howard Hewitt. Now, given our conversation, my leaning is towards Christopher Williams for one reason. Now, and that is as men, and you said it earlier, men used to talk with bass in their voice.
Right.
And as men, there's been a projection that more first tenors become stars now than the baritones.
Yeah.
You don't have the Barry Whites.
Right.
You don't have
The
Barry
Lou
Whites.
Rawls. Remember Lou Rawls?
Lou Rawls, right? You don't have that resonance. We actually had an event called Resonance about the tone of a man's voice at New York Poets Cafe, and there's something about that resonance that Christopher Williams has over Howard Hewitt. However, in terms of classic, I don't remember the actual name of this song, but This Ring, but it's hard to top though. I looking at both catalogs, just. I think he's with Shalimar at the time when he sang this.
Yes.
I can't remember the name of the song, but I just remember This Ring is for the lover in you. This ring, yeah. The quality of lyrics.
For the lover in you,
yeah. The quality of lyrics I got to give to Howard,
right?
But the resonance of voice I have to give to Chris.
Right, and the difference is simple as the parting of the paths, right? When you go from when it's the Sam Cooke and Frankie Lyman, like do you like the Frankie Lyman route that goes this way that has your Smokey Robinsons, eventually your Michael Jacksons, your Princes, everybody going in that direction, and then you have your Sam Cookes that also have your Jackie Wilsons, your James Browns, your Johnny Gills, your Christopher Williams, and got your Lou Rawls, your Barry Whites,
Luther, all of them.
Luther. Oh, jeez, Luther, bro. Oh my goodness, Luther, man.
Yeah,
brother, gone too soon, man.
Jaheim now. Yeah, that's the only one in the recent times I could say has some resonance in their voice.
Yeah, man. That makes them feel. Yeah. And I like to call it. And so just real quick, I'm gonna tell a story, Chuck. I'm gonna try to keep it under 30 seconds, bro, I promise. But I walk into a room and this little boy's in there, and then they're playing like, man, and this is my car. And I walk in, I'm the lion on the top of the mountaintop. I'm the oldest male in our family unit, the current one. You know what I'm saying? All the older fellas, So I walk in the room. Hey, boy, what y'all in here doing? Why y'all in here playing with them toys? Go outside. And my mom was like, why you yelling at them boys like that? You might get them nervous. And I'm like, Mom, when a lion is in the pride, do you think the lion, the king of the pride, is concerned that the baby lion cubs are going to get scared when the big lion comes around? They don't. They don't. They want to one day be the leader of that pride, and they're not going to get there by whispering.
Hallelujah.
Right? You have to impart these male lessons on these boys when they're young. Because if they just sitting around talking, when a little boy is sitting in the kitchen, 6 women in the kitchen gossiping, and a little boy in there, what you think gonna happen with that little boy?
You're gonna grow up gossiping.
Exactly.
When he should be outside dragging a car jack to a Ford LTD that got a flat tire.
Right.
Facts. Bim, as you say.
Bim. Chuck, on that note, man, I got to get out of here so I can do the prep work for the next one and drive. Because if I don't get, last night's show was cut short because we had internet interruptions last night. But as you can see right now, that I'm good and ready to talk.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Pastor Jay, again, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Yes,
Chuck. If you want to get us out of here, Chuck.
Yeah. I want to thank Pastor for coming through again this morning, man. Thank you for your words of wisdom. I hope everybody let those seeds fall into good soil to grow up to be something special in their life. Vibrant ones, y'all know how I feel about y'all. We'll be back here tomorrow, not 8 a.m. to about 10 a.m. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you click all notifications so that whenever we upload or go live, you can come kick it with us. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Peace, y'all.